Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing 10 fragrances that I regret decluttering from my perfume collection. I know, right? How crazy. Many times when I declutter, I have like no second thoughts about it, but there are some fragrances that after a while of not having them, I start thinking about them, I start craving them, and I kind of regret decluttering them. So I'm going to be sharing with you what those fragrances are. So with that said, let's jump right into today's video. Okay, so for today's video, I just have had this idea in my mind for, I would say, a month or two. Ever since I moved, I feel like the change of weather, this change of scenery, and all of that has made me miss some fragrances that I decluttered while I was living in Puerto Rico, which is a hot, humid, beachy, tropical area. Like it's surrounded by palm trees and it's like hot all year round, and the vibes are just so much different. So back then I got rid of fragrances thinking like I'm not going to miss this, and also because I felt the pressure of moving and having to move so many bottles of perfume, I just wanted to make my collection a little bit smaller. But now that I'm settled here and hopefully don't have to go through another overseas move, I do like to keep my collection under control because I don't want it to be ridiculously big. But there are fragrances that I miss, there are fragrances that I regret decluttering, and we're going to talk about those today. So I'm going to start off with the first one, and the first one is Viktor and Rolf Bonbon. I decluttered this one because of something that happens to me a lot. I am like this with everything in my home, with decor, with my kitchen stuff, with my clothing. Like I get tired of things very quickly. I like to change. I like to move furniture around. I like to change my style. I like to change my clothing. Like I love trying new things, and I'm not the type of person who sticks to the same thing like forever. So if I wear a fragrance a lot, like over and over, it kind of gets to the point where I need a break from it. Like I don't want to wear it no more. And I think that's what happened with Bonbon. I really enjoyed that fragrance. The notes are beautiful, and I think I would like it even more now that I'm somewhere where it gets nice and cold and it's cozy here. And I feel like maybe the caramel in that fragrance would maybe come through more nicer in colder weather. So I'm going to put the main accords on the screen for this fragrance, and the notes are just beautiful. There is peach, mandarin orange, and orange in the opening, which I have grown to really love peach. Like it's one of my favorite notes in fragrances, which is super unexpected and not a note that I used to think was a favorite. And the middle notes, there's caramel, orange blossom, and jasmine, and the base notes are amber, sandalwood, guaiac wood, and cedar. And I remember this fragrance just making me feel really flirty, a little bit on the darker side, yet still very sweet and flirty with that caramel coming through, and the peach was really bright and juicy. And it's crazy that the first time I ever smelled Bonbon, I still remember like it was yesterday. I went to Ulta and I remember seeing this adorable bottle. The bottle is so cute, and I picked it up to smell it. And since I was just getting into really just smelling everything, smelling fragrances, I remember smelling that one and just being like, ooh. I don't know why back then it was super strong, and just I couldn't distinguish what I was smelling. So I just put it back down and I was not interested. Then in Puerto Rico, once I started my YouTube channel, I started reviewing fragrances. I just blind bought it, I ordered it, and it smelled so different. It smelled so juicy and flirty and yummy, and the caramel was so like thick, and it just smelled so good. So I feel like that one right now might make its way back to my collection because I've been thinking about it a lot. So I made this video to kind of hear your thoughts and get your advice on what you think. I feel like these fragrances that I regret decluttering would work so nicely here in Kentucky, where it is cold. It's like fall season, the leaves are crispy everywhere, and I'm just like in love with the vibes. So I feel like that one would be so good here. The next one is another one that I decluttered because it started changing on me. So when I got this fragrance, it was like love at first sniff. It was a fragrance that was raved about. The hype has kind of gone down on that one, but at that time it was like just all over the place. And it's an affordable fragrance, it's a celebrity fragrance, and that is Fancy by Jessica Simpson. So when I got that fragrance, it was like my dream fragrance because it had almond in it, and at that time I had just discovered just how much I absolutely love almond in my fragrances, how it makes it smooth and creamy and sometimes a little nutty, and just I love almond in my fragrances. So I blind bought Fancy, and the notes for Fancy are apricot, pear, and red berries in the opening. Middle notes are caramel, almonds, gardenia, and jasmine, and the base notes are vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. And I remember I wore this fragrance for my daughter's 10th birthday. That's the memory that I have with this fragrance, even though I wore it many, many times, different days. But the day that I just have like a memory of that fragrance is her 10th birthday. And it was like when I just could smell it on myself, and it was so good. And I got the almonds and I got the caramel, and it was just so, so yummy. And then all of a sudden, when it sat in my collection for I would say like a few months, the gardenia started getting way sharper. And then every single time that I would put this fragrance on, it was like I was not getting those creamy, yummy, gourmand notes. And I was starting to get this sharp floral, and I just couldn't really get past that. And it was starting to give me a bit of a headache. It was getting a little annoying and sharp and screechy on my skin. So I've heard some people say that the fragrance does change when it sits. So I don't know if it's worth it for me to pick this one back up again. I don't know if the same thing will happen since it is different weather here, different surroundings and climate and all of that. So sometimes I get curious. I might pick up like a small bottle, like a 1 ounce bottle, because I used to have the big 3.4 ounce bottle. But that is my second one. Next one is another one that I also remember the first time I smelled it at Ulta. So I have very, very strong memories with these fragrances. And this is Versace Crystal Noir EDT. So this one is a super polarizing fragrance. In the fragrance community, there are people who either absolutely love it, and there's people who just cannot stand this fragrance. And I think I've been on both sides of the fence. So the first time I went to Ulta for this fragrance, I smelled this fragrance, and it was like I didn't know what the heck I was smelling, but there was something about it that was just like super attractive. It just smelled very sexy to me, very unique, very grown up. And I kept thinking about it until I finally got it. I don't remember at what point I got it, but I do remember the first time I ever smelled it. And that one is like a very peppery, sexy, it's kind of like soapy in a way. It's just a very, very unique fragrance. It's one of the most unique fragrances I have ever smelled. Very different from other fragrances and very sexy to me. I think it's a very like hot fragrance. The notes for this fragrance are pepper, cardamom, and ginger. So that already is like an explosive opening of like fresh, spicy aroma. And then middle notes, you have gardenia, orange blossom, and peony, which the gardenia is never, it has never been too strong for me. And then the base notes are sandalwood, musk, and amber. So this one already made its way back to my collection, but I got it in a travel size. So I did talk to you guys about this one a few months ago when I decided to get it in a travel size because I felt like I was really going to like this during fall time here. So I am going to actually put this on my tray, which I just did my tray, but I forgot to include this in there. I want to give it some use. I'm loving it again. Like this fragrance, it's not warm at all. You're not going to get warm, cozy vibes, but then somehow it's perfect for fall and winter because it's a fresh, spicy scent. It is so sexy to me. It's almost like you just took a shower using a man's bar soap. I know that does not sound nice for some people, but there are moments where I do kind of dig unisex fragrances. I mostly lean towards the sweet, girly, feminine side, but every once in a while when I find a fragrance like this, it just makes me feel very sexy when I wear them. It just smells clean and fresh and spicy and sexy all wrapped up in one. Very, very unique fragrance. I'm glad that I have a travel size, and if I continue to wear it, I might just bring back a full size of it, but I need to give it use before I make up my mind about that. So I'm happy that I went with a travel size because this is perfect. I get to experience the fragrance again and make up my mind about it. But I do prefer the EDT over the EDP because the EDP smells more peppery. This next fragrance, I really do regret getting rid of it, and it was Another fragrance that I got before I had a channel, when I was kind of like a silent watcher of the fragrance community, I was just exploring so many fragrances. And I remember I found this fragrance at Ross for like 25 bucks or something like that, $30 the most. And I had been hearing so many good things about it on YouTube, and I was just like, score, like I got it for a good price and I cannot wait to try it. And when I sprayed this, I remember spraying it in the car. It was a roller coaster ride of like amazing notes. But it is a very hard fragrance to wear, especially because shortly after I moved to Puerto Rico. So it turned into like a fail for me. And this is by Mugler, and this is Angel Muse. I am dying to bring this back to my collection because I feel like it would work so beautifully in the weather here. I got rid of it once I got over there because it was just no way in hell that I was going to pull that off over there. This fragrance is like the perfect chocolate fragrance while still smelling like a perfume. So it opens up with pink pepper and grapefruit. And when you first spray this fragrance on your skin, you're going to smell the grapefruit. It's like this just fresh blast that overtakes your little bubble that you're in. And then all of a sudden, that hazelnut cocoa spread, which is the middle note, the hazelnut literally just blossoms and it starts getting richer and like smoother, creamier, chocolatey. And then there is a base of patchouli and vetiver. And the patchouli to me is not dirty in that one. And it actually smelled very, very sexy, very beautiful. It just combined so nicely with the hazelnut and it was just good. Like, I didn't really get to experience that one because I had it in my collection. I sprayed it a few times, but then I had to move. And in the heat, that just does not work. And I did try the EDT version, which the EDT version I believe is passion fruit, citruses, lemon. They added some chocolate and caramel, and that one was nice, but I feel like the EDP version is kind of like the masterpiece of Angel Muse, and I'm really, really thinking about ordering a bottle. These are like the fragrances that I've kind of been wanting to get. I just don't know if to do it or not. But yeah, I do regret getting rid of Angel Muse. Next up, I do regret getting rid of Jimmy Choo Fever. And I got rid of that one when I was trying to just make my collection a little bit smaller before moving. So I gave that one to my mom. Jimmy Choo Fever has notes that don't tend to work for me, that I actually just don't like in fragrances. So the top notes are plum, lychee, and grapefruit. I struggle with plum. I struggle with lychee. Middle notes are heliotrope, vanilla orchid, jasmine, and orange blossom. Vanilla orchid, heliotrope are like some of my favorite notes in fragrances. Base notes are tonka bean, vanilla, benzoin, coffee, hazelnut, and sandalwood. This fragrance is the one of the only fragrances where the plum is so beautiful, where it is like this beautiful, creamy, gourmandish, but still smells like a sexy perfume at the same time type of fragrance. And I gave it to my mom while I was in Puerto Rico, and I remember going to Miami for the holidays, and she was getting ready. I think she was getting ready for New Year's Eve. Yeah, that was her New Year's Eve scent. And I was doing my makeup, and she's put her perfume on, and I'm just like, what is that? What did you just spray? And she's like, this one. She shows me her Jimmy Choo Fever, and I'm just like, no way. It smelled so good. It left such a beautiful scent trail. It smelled sexy. It smelled yummy, delicious. It smelled intoxicating. I was just like, okay, I need that back in my life. But I have not ordered it again. I'm thinking about it. It's really, really nice. It's sexy. It's beautiful for the holidays. And the notes in here, none of them bother me. Like, they are so beautifully blended. And it's just a very like sexy, a little bit dark, but not dark to the point where it's like bold and super strong or anything. It's sexy. It still has like the softness to it and the smoothness to it, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful scent. Another one that many people would never expect me to like, because many people talk about this and the first thing they say is like, that is a patchouli bomb. But this has always been a scent that I have loved. And I even, if you go back on my channel to like the first video that is on my channel, because I did delete a lot of my old videos from like when I used to do makeup and stuff like that. But I did leave this favorites video up because I was pregnant and I like to see it as memories. That was in our apartment in Tampa and I was having my second baby. That was like in 2016. Yeah. I had that in a favorites video and I miss it. I still miss it sometimes. I did get it back recently and I decluttered it and I'm just like, why do I keep getting rid of this fragrance when every time I wear it, I love it. But I do love it in cold weather. So that's probably why I got rid of it in Puerto Rico. And that is Jimmy Choo, just the EDP Jimmy Choo. There is something about that fragrance that is so sexy and beautiful and unique and I love it. I remember also trying that one at Ulta, and I remember the first time I ever bought that one, I bought it at Ulta during a really cold day in Miami, which Miami does not get cold like that, but it was one of those winters where it went down to like maybe the 30s, 40s, and I remember spraying that in my car, and it was just so intoxicating. The top notes for that one are pear, mandarin orange, and green notes. Middle note is orchid, so maybe it's the orchid, I don't know, and the pear. And then the base note is toffee and patchouli. It just smells very sexy. It's hard for me to describe this one because it's not floral, really. To me, it's more like a little spicy. It's warm. Patchouli is definitely the scent, but there is something that sweetens it up a bit. But it's not a super sweet fragrance at all. It just smells so, so good. So I would like to bring that one back to my collection for winter time. I'm thinking about like getting some of these in a haul. Maybe for winter I'll be doing like a perfume haul. Another one that I regret decluttering is Prada Candy Night. So this one was another one that has always just intrigued me so much. It's such a beautiful scent. I think I like this one more than the original candy. This one has chocolate in it. So the top notes are iris, bitter orange, and neroli. The middle notes are vanilla and tonka bean, and the base notes are chocolate and patchouli. So this one smells like what you would wear to like a holiday party, something for like maybe Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. It's a gourmand, it's deep, it's so yummy, but then it's sexy. It smells elegant and sophisticated and sexy all at the same time while having like that gourmand touch to it. But again, it was fragrances that were hard for me to pull off in the hot weather. So I'm just very, very interested in trying them here and seeing how I like them now. That one just smells like chocolate, but without it being literally chocolate. Like it smells like a perfume that's very, very sexy and it has a hint of chocolate in it. The next one that I am also like, I have just been craving, and it was a little bit hard for me to wear this one in Puerto Rico because it would smell good some days and then some days it would just get really like, just something about it made me think of like cigarette smoke at times, which I don't want to smell that way. That is the only one by Dolce & Gabbana. So this one would be like a favorite sometimes, and then sometimes it would just not work for me, and I'm pretty sure it had to do with the weather over there. And this one has caramel. So if you are a person who likes YSL Black Opium, but you wish that the coffee was a little bit more prominent, like not so much the white florals in Black Opium, then I would recommend trying the only one. It is like a coffee caramel scent, very similar to, there was a Bath and Body Works body mist that was released. I think it was called Midnight Amber Glow or something like that. And it just reminded me a lot of the only one by Dolce & Gabbana. This one has caramel, it has coffee, and it has really nice notes as well. So the top notes are violet, orange, and bergamot. Middle notes are coffee, pear, iris, orange blossom, and rose. And the base notes are caramel, vanilla, and patchouli. And I'm dying to try that one here. Like absolutely dying to try it in the cold weather because I've never actually worn that one in really cold weather. It's been just Puerto Rico Christmas weather, which is like what, 60s at most. So I really want to try that one again and see how it smells and see if maybe the caramel comes through some more. If it's maybe a little bit more like smooth. I don't know. I'm dying to try that one again. The last one that I regretted getting rid of, which is back in my collection thanks to So Avant-Garde. They sent over a bottle to me and I just couldn't be happier and thankful because I had this. Like I regretted this. I think almost immediately after getting rid of it, I was like, oh my God, that's a really nice fragrance. And that is Lalique Soleil. So the bottle is absolutely gorgeous. So not only is the bottle gorgeous, but the scent in it is so unique. It's like so feminine and it's not what you would expect it to be. I feel like if you look at the notes, you would expect it to be a little bit more gourmand, but to me, it's not gourmand. This, oh my God, I love it so much. I cannot wait to wear this. This has notes of mandarin orange, bitter almond, and cardamom. And when this opens up, that cardamom is like she's there. But it's like a sweet cardamom because the orange blossom and the milk in here are kind of smoothing it out. There's pear, milk, candied almond, caramel, coffee, and jasmine in the middle note. And that gives the cardamom. So to me, the center of this fragrance is the cardamom. It's kind of like what starts it all, and then those little sweet notes are like around it to soften that cardamom so it's not so spicy, it's not so sharp. And then the base notes is praline, white musk, and sandalwood. This is so yummy. I'm so happy I have this back in my collection. It's very unique. It smells very expensive. I feel like this is something that you can wear even for like Thanksgiving dinner. Like if you really want to show up and be like, you know, dressed really, really nice and smelling amazing, and you don't want to smell like food, because there are some scents, for example, Killian's Angel Share. I love that for Thanksgiving. It gives the vibes of Thanksgiving, but sometimes it could come off a little too like gourmandish, literally smelling like what's happening in the kitchen. This one is not like that. This one is like you're smelling very glam. There's something about it that just smells very like feminine, beautiful, sparkly, done up, yet there's sweet notes in it and like that fresh spicy touch to it. I am so happy she's back because I love her. So if you're interested in this fragrance, I'm going to be putting a discount code for 20% off on the screen with So Avant-Garde. And yeah, they have amazing fragrances on their website, and I'm just so happy to have Lalique Soleil back. So I do have 2 of the ones that I regret back in my collection. Let's see how many more I get back, but I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your advice. If you live somewhere cold, let me know how those fragrances work for you. I cannot wait to read your comments. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next one.